What's up, Silas here? This is going to be Sunday over here, where I go and I get the Sunday paper in wherever I may be. I'm in Nairobi, Kenya. So I get the Sunday paper and then I read the headlines and let you guys know what I think about them. If sometimes I'll know more about what's going on in the place if I've been paying attention. Sometimes it'll just be brand new things. And last week I went with the Sunday Standard and I kind of read the cover and I went through and showed you guys different headlines within it. And that's the same thing I'm going to do this week, except I'm going to go with a Sunday Nation. I'm going to test that music thing. I might turn the music off and see how loud it is with the thing. But yeah, anyway. So here we go. Sunday Nation, as I said. Music is playing in the back. Anyone who can figure out what music it is, more power to you. Let me know if you guys can figure that out. Well, anyway, so let's just get right into this. Raila set to unveil Uhuru Unity Team. And with the first video I did in this series, I was talking about how Raila Odinga, who is the head of the opposition, and this is Mudavadi over here, Musalia Mudavadi. And he's also one of the opposition members. And in the first video I did, as you guys might remember, he had a handshake with the president of Kenya. They were kind of burying the hatchet. And this was a big surprise to both people on Uhuru's team and Raila Odinga's team. And now ODM leader expected to name representatives as handshake deal gathers momentum. Now, slowly by slowly, they've been unveiling what's happening, what that deal was about, who's going to be in power. And now this Uhuru Unity Team, now he's going to be able to pick some people and say, okay, yeah, you guys can come out. And a lot of the opposition leaders were very annoyed and very angry, very consternated. Consternated? Yes. Very annoyed with him. We're like, oh, why? How could he go behind our backs and do this? But now he's going to get people in there. So some people might come in, some people might not. And same thing on the side of Uhuru Kenyatta, the president. People were like, okay, how can he do this? Because now that's going to boot people out from who are with Uhuru, because to get positions of power, to have him put his people in, he's going to have to remove some of those people. So there's some issues with that. Now here, Eurobond. Dar steps up bid for KPC boss. Ngumi wanted in Tanzania for questioning over his role in the scandal that costs local taxpayers shilling 600 million. 600 million is like $6 million, because when you do conversion of shillings to dollars, normally the shilling is around 100 shillings for $1. So this is talking Dar, that's Dar es Salaam, and this is something in Tanzania. Dar es Salaam is the capital of Tanzania, which is a neighboring country. It's like the Horn of Africa is like this. And then Kenya's here on the Horn. Somalia is like on the top over there. Uganda is over here. I think Rwanda is somewhere over here, the Rwandan genocide. And then Tanzania is like down here. And then there's like Zanzibar out in the ocean over there. That's just a small little geography lesson over there. Get to know your Eastern Africa, not Central. There's actually a Central African Republic. But get to know your Eastern Africa. That's how the place is. Now here, Vice President Ruto. Ruto returns to chicken market. I have a story about Vice President Ruto. Met him in person, I think just once. But yeah, I have a story about him. Might share that some other time. But I don't like name drop. I know people. I've met him. It was really, I mean, in my experience, it was a good experience. But then, yeah, people are people. This is one thing I've said. Politicians are also people. And they get in certain positions or certain jobs that kind of have a situation where you might be led to doing more negative things because it can enable you to do certain things, gives you access. Like if you're a butcher, there's only so much you can do. But then if you're a politician, there's temptations that you can do. If you're a butcher, you can maybe like, if somebody's ordering some meat, instead of you giving them the meat where it's like mostly meat, you make sure there's like a really big piece of bone in there. And you're like, yeah, we're going to scam this person out slowly by 100 grams of meat. But when you do that as a politician, I'm not saying he's doing it, but when you do it as a politician and you're scamming out a couple 100,000 here and there, that makes an entirely different difference. But it's still the same person. It's a different situation. But here he is in the chicken market. Ruto returns to chicken market. Deputy President William Ruto during a chicken auction at Kamagot in Uasin Gishu County yesterday. So this is a thing where people from the farms, people from the countryside will come and bring their chickens, and then you go in there and every day you just buy them. People buy them, like they'll be like, okay, let me get all these chickens together, and these chickens will be like, you can buy a chicken. At least you can go to there's a market here, Kangemi Market, where it's like an open air market type of place, where you can go in there and get a live chicken, and they chinja it for you there, they slaughter it for you there, or you can buy it and bring it to your own home and slaughter it. Completely free range capons, a free range chicken, so hasn't eaten antibiotics or any of these like chicken feeds or things like that, completely free range, about 600 shillings, even less than that in some cases. So it's going between 600 and I think 600 and 700 around there. So that's $6, $7 for an entire free range chicken, completely live. That's just gotten there straight from the farm. But these people do the thing where they'll get this. This is Usain Gishu, and even from Usain Gishu, they'll do like a drive from there and then bring them to the city. So you can go there and you can buy probably chickens here for about 200 because you're getting like in bulk. You'll probably get like 100 chickens for 200 a piece, and then you put them in your Pro Box, which is a type of car they normally deliver things in. You drive it out to the city market. You get to the city distributor places in Nairobi, and then from there people come in, and then now they sell them for 300 a piece. Now those people sell them for 300 a piece, and they go to their own stalls in the markets and whatnot. And when they're in the stalls, then they add like maybe 400, or they go higher depending on the thing if you're delivering there. Because now even if you're going there for 300 a piece, you're paying for gas and things like that. My mom is currently doing some kind of farming thing with different things, where you're doing different prices. So I've gotten a little more into this, but that's how businesses work. People don't understand like just getting the actual prices isn't the thing. But yeah, I'm thinking if you had Mike Pence doing something like this at a chicken market somewhere, even though he's like wasn't he the Iowa? What do they have in Iowa? I know they have like potatoes in Iowa. But let's say they had like him at a farm. I can imagine the outcry from people like PETA in the United States of America being like, I can't believe he's out there. These chickens are going to get slaughtered. But yeah, Vice President of Kenya just out there in his suit. I mean, in his slacks with a tie with a chicken. Kind of cool. I like. This is one part I do like about politicians here. How they seem more personable. And I'm not saying that politicians should be personable. I didn't necessarily think it was a positive thing about George W. Bush, and people like, oh, he seems like someone you can have a beer with. I'm like, yeah, that's cool as a person, but that has nothing to do with his political ability. And I think that's one thing you see with the former President Obama. They were like, yeah, President Obama, he's someone who's nice. He's someone I can hang out with. That doesn't mean he's a good president. But I'm just saying, like I said, kind of cool. Okay, so this is the main title here. Anxiety as family plans the cremation of Matiba. Now, I did a previous video talking about deaths of politicians and how this was one of the firebrands of the early politics here. It kind of was kind of a flag bearer for multi-party democracy here in Kenya. And it's a big event. A lot of people are very hurt by his passing. Villager seeks answer on Hero's funeral. Now, you have this kind of thing where he's lived in Nairobi, but he has his home squared, his countryside, his ushags. Ushago is what they call the countryside, upcountry kind of places, the rural areas, the tribal lands. That's what they normally call them, I think in Swahili. So anyway, you get to that point where now, where does he get buried? See, sources say the veteran politician's final journey, which started with prayer meetings at his home, will end at the Langata crematorium on Friday, according to his wishes for a simple ceremony. Again, I have another story about the Langata crematorium. I need to ask the parties involved about going through that, or I need to think and see if I'm going to go into that story. But I have some footage of this location, so it's kind of a place where, in this Langata crematorium, it's a big, massive place, and there's other graves, there's unmarked graves, people get buried on top of other people, but of course, somebody with his amount of wealth, he'll be able to secure a plot, some land, and probably put, excuse me, sorry about that, I had something in my throat, might still be there. But he can secure some land, probably put a shrine up, and he'll have his own kind of burial plot and things. But now you see the villagers seek answers of the hero's funeral. Now you hear the villagers, because the people back home in his countryside, in his ancestral home, will have that kind of connection. And now you have these people, this is my father's generation, generation above mine, and these people were born when Kenya didn't exist. So these people were not necessarily in the capital city of Nairobi, even though they might have spent most of their life here and set roots here. Like Langata is a neighborhood here in Nairobi, and he's set up with hotels and things like that. Most of his family is here. His direct relatives are here. But there's an old thing where the villagers, still have a sense of ownership of him. They feel like they should be able to come to his thing. Now it's going to be a lot harder for the villagers to come from the village to Nairobi to a funeral than it would be for the people in Nairobi who have, in general, more wealth, to be able to go to the village and get it. But so this is kind of the things that are happening, the clash of worlds here, where people are transitioning from rural life to urban life, and this is something that's just happening with that. Okay, in her arms, baby elephant snored. This is might be someone who passed again. This I think she was in the previous. I saw a little snippet of her in the previous week, or was it the week before that? I don't know. But Sunday Nation, if you are copying it from Sunday Standard, here's this there's a lot of gambling and lotteries and things like that. Winda Chapa. Chapa is like money. So I think Winda, I don't know if that's some kind of shang for, what's it called? For winning, participating, something. Anyway, here's an advert for Kenya Airways. And here you can see the prices. Okay, right here. Destination. So this is one way. Is this one way or two ways? This is one way, I think. Flying to Zurich, Geneva, Brussels, Paris. Business class is that. So this is Kenya Airways, which is the country's main airline. And these are the prices that you can see with it. For I think these are one way. No, actually, these could be two way. Now, this is probably two-way prices because I'm looking at one way. When I normally fly to the United States of America, I normally use Emirates or Qatar, and that's about $1,000, and that's two ways. So yeah, this is probably two ways, and it's a direct flight, so it's not too bad. $699, $700, business class. Yeah, so yeah, that's just kind of an idea for prices, and people do fly. So here we go. Now let's just kind of go in. This is going to be just a quicker zoom through this. I'm not going to go in depth into these. And as I mentioned with all of these, if there's something you want me to go into more, please let me know and I shall. So this one, DJ Avicii passed away. And Avicii is, one thing with music, I think music itself is something that transitions across its borders. And I think that electronic music, even though some people give it a lot of gripe, even how the way it came from Europe, came from certain areas in Europe, those are the same places that Beethoven, Mozart, these kind of people came, and they were just doing straight. They had some lyrics in some of their things, but it's mostly instrumentals, mostly music, mostly sounds that move people, that activate people, that I think you can feel in your body. And I think if Beethoven and Mozart and those kind of people were still alive today, the kind of music they'd be making would be EDM, would be this kind of electronic dance music, because they'd be able to like, wow, we can do these things with music, we can change these things around, we can put these arrangements together. I think they would have an amazing time with this. So this one, Avicii was one of the biggest EDM people. He died at 28, very young. Apparently he had some issues with alcohol that he had admitted to. And yeah, that's very unfortunate. You can see here he actually did talk about. He was actually in touch with some Kenyans, and people were talking about this. I think the time, I don't think it was Avicii that came to Kenya, and I missed the concert. I think I bought tickets and didn't go. But yeah, I should have gone to that concert. I don't really do concerts too much. But yeah, so that's just a global theme that I think is touched to everyone. So this is more on the Matiba thing, the Raila story from the cover, based on Viola Handshake Deal Team. It's commercials again. This kind of repetition thing where there's something I see with things where it's like, okay, that's on the cover, then it gets also front billing. So you see it on the cover, and then you have that in your mind, then you see it again here, and it sticks more in your mind. So this kind of technique that they do with all this, I'm quite sure. Here, Edinburgh School Leadership Center. Now, that is a horrible photoshopping job here. Yeah, that's bad. Anyway, a lot of boarding schools here in Kenya. This is from high school, 844, which is like you go 8 years first. It's like kind of elementary to middle school. Middle school. No, elementary to middle. Yeah, then you go to high school and then something like that. I don't know. And forms 1 and 3. I'm not even going to try to pretend that I know what this is, but I think it's based more off the British system. And it's the years aren't like in the United States of America where you stop in the middle year and you have the summer off, because that was normally there because of farming. So you have kids in the farms to harvest the crops and also the heat. You have a situation where school starts in January and ends around December, and then you have kind of like a 1 month break 3 times through the year instead of that long 3-month break. High electricity bills, delayed token purchases, exposed rot at Kenya Power. I have big gripes with Kenya Power. Just the other day, I had about 15 power outages in one day. And yeah, let's not even touch on that. It's just really, really annoys me. And Kenya Power is the state-ran people that's supposed to provide electricity. So yeah, I know it's a lot worse in some places, even in the country itself. And I know I'm thankful for having it, but it's still very frustrating and annoying. 2/3 of loans taken by families go to buying food, paying school fees. So this is one thing I was talking about, how people like the school system. I'll do a separate video on the school system, but just in general, my ideas about school systems all around that could be tried. This whole idea that people are not going to be able to afford for school, like why do you need universal, free, public indoctrination centers created by the state? You don't need that. People find ways to educate their children, and I think if you have a more free market way, I'll try to propose one there where it gives incentives for the people. So the teacher is being paid, the school is kind of paid. I'll give you a little snippet of it. The schools are being paid in part due to how well the students do after graduating. That way, I think the schools will be better at setting up standards for getting people in, and also focusing on certain things and making sure that those kids are leaving with something of valuable. Because if those kids do well, those kids do better, they get more money from that. So it's just a kind of interesting thing. Waterfront. This is the biggest mall in I think in sub-Saharan Africa, if I'm not mistaken. It might be bigger ones in like South Africa, but I know it's the biggest mall in East Africa at least. And yeah, I might show you guys. I went there during the opening times. I might show you some film from that in a separate video. But yeah, teetotaler who didn't mind staying at the bar. Who are they talking about? They're talking about Matiba. So Matiba was that guy from before this guy. And he's saying he didn't drink, but he still went to the bar. And that's kind of how I am right now. Like, I don't drink. I haven't drank, I think, in like 2 years now. I don't really go to bars either, but I remember in the past when I wasn't drinking that much, I'd still be able to go out there and hang out with people. But yeah, it's really odd, actually, in some situations, being at the bar and seeing people. The one thing I don't like about that is when other people are drinking, depending on how they're drinking, slowly by slowly, the conversation deteriorates, and you see the effect of each drink on the person. And yeah, I don't really like that. So there's a lot of in here about Matiba. Here's some ad. The shoes are mine. So I guess putting on the shoes that you can't fit. I don't know. Mombasa Garbage Medicine Security. Not quite sure what politician this is. But yeah. Yeah. Okay, so kind of losing some steam here. Going through these things, Gideon Moi, this is one of the sons of the second president of Kenya. And you see here, being groomed to take over from Uhuru. So this is one thing people are wondering. People are wondering who are already in the politician's place, who's going to take over. And as I mentioned before, the vice president, Ruto, he's trying to get in. Why women are joining in the crime. I had an article about this. Posted on my blog about this. On my blog, I post links and things that are interesting. Some of those things I do discuss here. It's rantathon.com if you want to check that out. Some of those things I do discuss here, but some of them I just don't. But yeah, I posted about something, how when you go to bars here, you have to watch your drinks because women will put the rohypnol. They call it being micheled because it's like this little white kind of pill that looks like a grain of rice. They'll put it in your drink. You will take them home, or they'll have you go to their home or go to your home, and then sometimes they'll sleep with you. Sometimes you'll already be too intoxicated due to the drug, and you wake up in the morning and your stuff's gone. Your stuff's been stolen. I personally know a few people who have had that experience. One of them actually caught the person in the act, and the other one just the stuff went. So yeah, that's something that happens. But you see here, trend attributed to cultural dynamics, including the fact that more women are becoming sole breadwinners, and that there is more influence from peers to lead an opulent lifestyle. So here they're just talking about how, in the truth, it's not necessarily just nature or whatever. They're talking about also a breakdown of families, of people getting married and things like that, where it's like, okay, now they have to have the breakdown of gender roles and things like that. But I like here how they're not necessarily blaming some kind of patriarchy or thing. This is something that's happening. So people in the West also, the way they say there's an attack on the family there, I don't know if it's necessarily a direct attack, but I think the growth of the state kind of replaces certain things. Bringing in people from certain places who are not able to afford certain things, keeping up with the Joneses. You see, trying to lead an opulent lifestyle, getting into different things and becoming sole breadwinners. It's kind of a breakdown that I'm seeing there that I'm not too appreciative of. Also, this women are joining crime. One thing I don't really get with TV shows and movies and people being like, yeah, we need, like, there was this Star Wars, they're talking about the new Star Wars Han Solo film coming up. There's a character, the main villain. People are like, oh, is she a woman? Yeah, we have another female villain. Like, why are so many people who are on most of the social justice warrior feminist type things, why are they clamoring so much to have female villains? Like, yes, we can be evil, horrible despots too. It's like, yeah, we already know women are capable of great evils. But it's kind of like, I think they hate women personally. I think social justice warriors and these kind of people on the left hate these people they supposedly care for because they infantilize them and they constantly take away their agency. And I think that's something you do to something you despise. I think if you respect someone, you say like, look, these are people who are capable. These are entire people. They're capable of many things. We don't need to overprotect them and things like that. But yeah, so definitely a lot more of the paper here to go through. We're going to just kind of flip through now. Tough law fails to deter rapists as crime soars. This might be something I actually go into because I'm trying to understand more what the actual crime situation here is in Kenya. In some certain things, rapists seem to be targeting underage girls, elderly women, and people with disabilities. That is a horrible, horrible thing. So this might be something I might actually go into myself without anybody asking for that one. The evolution experience. There's something that's happening in Kenya. They're trying to break down the government and empower more governments break down the central government and empower county governments and local governments in the different areas, regions of Kenya. So that's a process that's being tried. And I think some of it is kind of working. And here are different crests and things that are developed for the different counties and things like that. That's the Senate. That's like Nairobi, Kenya. That's the main crest. Kakamega County. That's close to the county. I mean, that's the county where Luya land is, where my parents are. Bungoma. Also, that's the same kind of area. Mombasa County. That's kind of close to the main crest, but I think with like seahorses and things like that. But yeah, that's something there. Other classified presentation of University of Nairobi prizes. University of Nairobi, I think, is the oldest university here in Kenya, and then University of Kenyatta is up there with it. But yeah, why Kenyan women are joining big league crime in numbers? I don't really care about that. So here's Lifestyle Magazine, kind of an interior thing. Kind of just a small like opinion pieces, lifestyle type of things. It's called Lifestyle Magazine. That's kind of, yeah, a tautology. It's already in there. So it's just different things. What are these pieces called? I don't know what these pieces are called. Anyway, one of my friends she teaches martial arts and like some kind of mixed American martial arts thing. But yeah, you got some here. I was telling her she could come to Kenya and open a school here too. And yeah, it's they're already starting. You can come here and add to it. But here we go. So here's some singers. These are for this kids section here. Coming in. What else do we have here? More elephants. This is more of the article over there. So what do you guys think about this? Do you guys read newspapers anymore? I know in Kenya a lot of people read newspapers. These papers do have websites, and pretty much all these articles are also on the website. But a lot of people still get their news from actual newspapers, from physical newspapers. I would want to say that still up to 60% at least gets most of the news from the actual physical newspapers, at least people who are out there searching for news. And then probably even higher than 60%, to be honest. I'm not even going to quote those figures. I think probably at least 75%. You'll still see like massive billboards all over the roads and things because people are still on that reading thing. They're not really gone digital yet. Yet that is coming up. Here's a section, Lifestyle Magazine again. Lifestyle is normally also more focused towards females, in my opinion, in my observation. Secrets to Perpetual Youthful Look. So that's there too. So that whole black don't crack thing, it does crack eventually, and there's ways to kind of prevent the cracking. You can see here. Here, Naomi Campbell, some cultural appropriation of American culture here by Africans, and where nannies get crucial childcare tip. So there's lots of nannies here and things like that. Isa Nyong'o, founder of Mom's Village website, gives advice to mothers. I might check out this website. I might remember to check out this website. I want to see how much peaceful parenting and things like that are brought up. I have that Hands Up, Don't Hit series where I'm a really big advocate for that, and I want to try to do more with that. It would be interesting to see if that's actually more of a pushed thing here in Kenya. Sudoku. Yes, I shall do that Sudoku. Sudoku. Shall do that. Comics. I used to read different comics. There used to be a Boondocks comic in one of these. That was the first time I read Boondocks, and then now there was that TV show by Aaron Magruder, really funny TV show, but I remember reading it here first. So, getting towards the end of this is the second half of the paper. I'm just going to swip through, get to the end of this video. Been talking for quite a bit. Here we go to different sections where they kind of talk about specific county issues in the different areas, focus on that. So the county is kind of how the states divide in the United States of America, if you want to think of it in a certain way. Here's more people talking about Latiba, talking about different things, higher education. School, education, food, those are big things that are here in Nairobi, Kenya, as are in other places. Business section, firms exposed to cybercrime in frantic rush for online services. There was somebody who I just saw having a TEDx thing here in Kenya, talking about he started a Africa hackathon here in Nairobi about cybersecurity, and that's kind of a thing that's increasing. Like I said, the digital industry is kind of coming up, so people are catching up with that, and different capabilities and things are building up. And with that TED thing, the TED programs, I know some of them, you see those what's it called, social justice warriors going on there, people fat acceptance, and rightfully getting savage for the absurdities that they're talking about. But I think that whole TEDx, the TED program, is a pretty good thing of people going out there and talking, and it's a thing that's gone around, and I think it does a lot more good in other places in the world versus the United States of America or some other places like that already have their established sources of talking about certain topics and information and things like that. So yeah, waging security chances called Klaus Bahari's re-election bid is talking about Nigeria, and Nigeria has that split where the north is Muslim and the south is mostly Christian. Extroverts values. So yeah, this is a paper. This is a Daily Nation. Teachers demand better wages. Talking about teachers something else. Again, education is a big thing here, and I do not want the Kenyan system and other countries to copy what's happening in the United States of America. But I think the United States of America is already going towards homeschooling and different kind of things, voucher systems, charter schools, because they're realizing that whole system of having people in this public school system is not necessarily working that well. Shooting in U.S. school as students stage walkout. So here, that's also being talked about here. The whole walkouts, I have videos about that, talking about that issue. Not really up for that. Yeah, so there's a classified section, sports sections. Have a cousin that plays rugby. Is that him? No, that's not him. But same tribe. It kind of looks like the same kind of people from far away, because we typecast people that way here because it actually does work. And yeah, so here we go. That's the end of it. Gore coach Care, happy to draw familiar fours in group. So this is a coach of the championship winning team of the Kenya Premier League. Yeah, I think it's the Kenya Premier League, KPL. They won the championship, Gor Mahia, which is a team from Western Kenya in that region, and they get coaches from other places. And I had this thing where I was thinking, why don't you have, I'll expand on this in a separate video, but why don't you have that kind of situation where you have different governments? In governments, I have no problem with governments, I have a problem with states. In government, you divide different sections and say, okay, there's going to be a section for power, there's going to be a section for this, section for that. And then you have people come in from anywhere, any place in the world, and they try to apply for that job. Just the way you have in the World Cup, you have international teams, you have sports teams of people from your country, and they're playing the sport, but they're coached by somebody from a different country. Doesn't mean if he's Irish and he's coaching the Kenyan national team and they're playing, you don't really think he's going to throw the game because he cares for Ireland more. He's doing his job. So you can have a thing where you have a president that's more of a figurehead, a leader type thing. Then you have the different governments, different sections being actually employing people to run those who can actually be more like CEOs and can be fired within the thing. You don't have to wait for like the end. I think that could be a different system to what's going on. But let me know what you guys think about that. Here, ending up with the running thing, some animation Shine Tower thing. But yeah, so that's it for now. That's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I think that was a little longer than I've done it before. No, they're normally this long. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. And as I said before, if there's anything you saw in this paper that you want me to go more in depth in, let me know, and I'll try to do it by Thursday if somebody puts up something and I actually have the time for it. But if not, I'll see you guys next Sunday for this series again, but more videos coming up this week. And like, share, and subscribe. Links below to the merchandise store. And also got the Patreon if you guys want to help me out. If you want to help me continue making the stuff. I'll still be making the stuff, but it will help if you guys help me out. Goodbye.